But tell you one thing, in life, people need roti, kapda, or makan.
Yeah.
Right? You're the one who's giving kapda. Your brother is giving makan. do you think you should have another brother who would be a chef?
Yeah.
And
then,
give roti?
Yeah, then we've got the whole thing covered.
The Holy Trinity will be covered. But I think in Bangalore there are three eras: BM, DM, and AM. Before Malya, during Malya, and after Malya. How affordable are you?
I'm a cheap slut. 57.
How do you maintain it?
Lots of beer. Look at least a little bit obvious. When I see a man, I want to dress him. When I see a woman, I want to undress her. And I'm like, I fucking did this,
Do you speak about politics? Are you
Not
a supporter
really.
of any party?
I don't support any party because I just think that difference between the devil and the deep blue sea.
What is your view on one night stand?
It's great.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tuhin Show. This is powered by TheStyle.World. People of a city help to put it on a world map, and I'm talking to people of one such city in the icons of Bengaluru. My guest today is the man who made people look fashionable through his unique cuts of clothes, colorful ensemble and mix of Indo-Western clothing. A fashion designer who changed the look of Namma Bengaluru, especially in weddings. His shows are always vibrant. Parties ki aan baan shaan. Inka fashion badhata hai sabka hausla. He is Manoviraj Khosla.
Very poetic of you.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for having me.
Do you call your house Khosla ka Ghosla?
No. Bit too cliched.
But tell you one thing, in life, people need roti, kapda, or makan.
Yeah.
Right? You're the one who's giving kapda. Your brother is giving makan. do you think you should have another brother who would be a chef?
Yeah.
And
then,
give roti?
Yeah, then we've got the whole thing covered.
The Holy Trinity will be covered. But tell you one thing, you went to Doon School.
Yep.
Then you did commerce from Kolkata, St. Xavier. Fashion kahan se aa gaya?
That the BCom part in Calcutta was just a sort of stopgap because, the plan was to study fashion, but you know how it is in those days when you tell your parents you want to study fashion, they sort of thought you were from Mars, and especially my dad. But they were receptive to the idea, but my dad said, at least do get yourself a BCom degree so that when all this flops, at least I can sort of try and get you a job somewhere. I was not the sharpest student in school, so it's not like I came out with flying colors. So,
Are you comparing yourself with your brother?
I'm comparing myself with the world. Yeah, so, I finally got into St. Xavier's and I don't even know how I got in there. I think he pulled some strings or something. But I did that. I got my BCom and I did that for 2 years. And then I went to London to study fashion because at least there was something to fall back on. And thank God I never needed to fall back on that thing because that would have been a real big fall.
Right. Did they compare you with your brother?
No.
He's an architect and
he's younger. So first of all, he went to college later.
He's
2 years younger than me, though a lot of people do think that I'm the younger one. Yeah, so I went to London to study fashion. He finished with Doon as well, and then he went straight to New York and he was studying architecture. So one was in London, one was in New York. And I just moved back and I just happened to move to Bangalore. And then my brother moved to Bangalore because I was in Bangalore, and the rest, as they say, is history.
As you said, it was quite unconventional to get into fashion at that time.
It was totally unconventional.
It was late 80s, right?
Yeah, I finished at Doon in 85, so I went to London to study in 87, 88.
Right.
So in those days, there was nothing fashionable about what was happening over here.
Darzi banna hai basically.
Yeah, nobody could understand. There was one guy, there was Rohit Khosla, who was no relative of mine, but he was the only sort of fashion designer and he was studying in London, and he was sort of making a name for himself. I used his example a lot. Then, so when I came back from London, by then, a little bit was happening, and Abu Jani, Sandeep Khosla had also started.
Right.
And then there was a whole bunch of 4-5 people who had, all friends of mine, who had just gone to NIFT when NIFT was first started, and they did a crash course there, which was Rohit Bal, Gitanjali Kashyap, I think it was Reena Dhaka, and one or two others, and then they all started retailing in a store in Delhi called Mutiny.
Right.
Ensemble had just opened in Bombay, and that was actually the beginning of the fashion sort of scene in India. Now, I was in London at that time studying still.
Right.
Sunit Verma had just passed out from the same college as me. Manisha Jaisingh was with me in college. Then this whole industry just sort of started, and then we all sort of got into this and literally trying to make one shirt and one trouser and one dress and things like that. And there were 2 stores in the entire country which were selling fashionable clothes or designer clothes. 3 actually: Khazana, Ensemble, and then Mutiny.
Okay.
And so that was it, and that was the whole beginning of the entire industry, which was great. And then Folio started in Bangalore.
Right.
We all started with Folio over here, selling out of Delhi and stuff as well. That was the beginning of the whole fashion sort of thing. And then we formed the Fashion Design Council of India.
Right.
A bunch of us got together and did that. That's when Fashion Week started.
It was like the fashion startup in India.
It was completely. I mean, there was nothing happening before we all got into this game. And then more and more people got into this game, and it was great because, I mean, look at the industry today.
Right.
I mean, we all knew it was going to go completely north because...
Right.
But I don't think anybody expected to go this wild, this fast. But I mean, it's not like fast. It did take its time. It's been a great ride.
A lot of people told me you had a wild side, long hair,
Very
rock
wild
star
side.
look.
Very wild side.
What was happening in the UK that time?
That was the punk phase. So I went through that whole punk phase. You've done your homework, haven't you?
Manoviraj Khosla had long tresses.
I know, long hair was, I always did have long hair, but then I went through the whole crew cut thing and the rat tail at the back and the fluorescent green. I went to Doon School for dinner with fluorescent green hair. That threw a lot of people off. I had feather earrings. I used to wear black bangles from here to here. The punk boots. I did the whole 9 yards.
मतलब parents को बहुत तंग किया आपने.
Yeah. It was
lot of calls
quite
coming
wild.
from
It was
Doon
quite
School.
wild, and I lived in Calcutta in those days, which was a fairly conservative place. My father had a corporate job, but me going into the clubs and with feather earrings and fluorescent green hair, punk boots, the most outrageous outfits ever, and so I did all that. Then the hair started growing, so I did that. That long hair thing was forever. I mean, I shaved it off 11 years ago. In Tirupati. And never grew it again.
Wow, finally spirituality hit you, huh?
Yeah, I was there and I was with some friends and we had gone for someone's birthday. They all sort of, while we were flying to Tirupati, we were on a private jet and everybody was sort of talking about who's, going to shave their head, and we were all having a drink on the plane and stuff like that, and we said we'll stop once we get to Tirupati, and that was it. This conversation actually came and hit me because everybody looked at me because I was the one with the longest hair.
Right.
You have to shave your hair, and my wife also got after me, and it was all bloody drunken talk and shit like that. And the next morning when we actually went, early morning, we went for the darshan, and as we were coming out, I was caught by Sid Malia, and he said, Vijay caught me, and then Adekeshlu, who's the chairman of the Tirupati Trust, said, we can, they all looked at me and said, you said you were shaving your head. And I said, shut up, this was drunken talk from last night. And that Adekeshlu said, no, we can get the barber right now. And before I knew it, that barber had come, Sid caught me, put me on a chair, and just within 30 seconds, it was all over. That was it. I never grew my hair again.
Once a promise, always a promise.
It was great.
Remember,
I loved it. And then, the convenience of it. Jeez, it's so great. I just shave in my shower. I put foam like this and I just shave and I'm out of there. It's done. No barber bills.
What else have you done after getting drunk? What all promises have you done?
How would you remember that?
They will make you remember. Vijay Mallya made you remember.
That was one hell of a thing. But yeah, that was a turning point actually, because I mean, can you imagine from hair this long to suddenly it was all gone, and that was it.
थोड़ा हवा लगा दिमाग को.
Yeah, but I sort of enjoyed it. It was quite cool because I like I was always reinventing my looks in any case. So whether it was green hair or, rat tails at the back with beads on it, or, long hair or bleached hair and all that, I was doing that before anybody in India had ever even thought of doing stuff like that to themselves. Today, every guy, every young kid you see has got like funky hair and they've bleached it and they've done this and that. I was doing that 35, 40 years ago,
Wow. You don't look that old.
57.
How do you maintain it?
Lots of beer.
Coming to fashion, what is your kind of fashion?
My kind of fashion is just cool. It's cool stuff. It's just, it's trendy stuff. It's cool stuff. It's vibrant stuff. We do serious clothing as well, which is like suits and formal stuff and all that. Lots of wedding clothes and everything. But I like to do something which has an edge to it, which has a twist to it, something which stands out, and which something, the whole idea is if somebody's wearing my clothes, people should come up to that person and say, wow, that's so cool. Where did you get that from? I don't want it to be something that just sort of gets hidden in the sort of crowd of people at a wedding or a party or something like that. The whole idea is that you spend money, you've gone to a designer, you need to look at least a little bit obvious.
How affordable are you?
Very. I'm a cheap slut. Affordable is a very relative term, but we're not expanding. You can buy a shirt here for what, $6,000, $6,500.
Right.
Trousers for like 8, 10, 12, 14. Again, depends which fabrics you're using.
Right.
Is it an embroidered shirt? Is it a printed shirt? Blah, 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 So, and we do suits. You can get a suit for 40 grand. You can get a suit for 140 grand.
Okay.
So, it depends again on what sort of fabrics one uses and what, detailing has been done to that garment. But no, it's fairly affordable. It is very affordable, actually. I have a lot of clients who actually tell me you're damn affordable. Okay. You should raise your prices.
In common people parlance, I would say, stitching kitna lete ho?
Yeah, people come and say, ye kitna hai meter ka? Wrong place, buddy.
Yeah. Celebs are important to promote your brand, right?
Yeah.
And the time when you all started, you needed some support. In 1990, you started your brand.
Well, nobody looked at celebs at that point of time. We were just, we sort of became the celebs ourselves, and we were all sort of just making, doing innovative stuff, and we all became known for what we were doing. Today, everybody relies on a celeb to promote their clothing. In those days, you never really had to. You did a show, there was never a celeb walking at the end. This showstopper, hideous showstopper culture which we have in this country. It's only in this country, nowhere else in the world.
Okay.
That you have to have a Bollywood star walking at the end of your show.
Okay.
It's not the designer's fault, it's the press's fault. The press will only cover something where there's Bollywood involved. So that sort of, it takes away from fashion because you're concentrating now on the celeb who's wearing it rather than what the creativity of the designer is. The whole world around, you are going to see a show for the creativity of the show. And unfortunately, in India, we put a little too much importance on who is that celeb who's sort of walking at the end. I don't know. Yeah, sure, celebs always work. If XYZ, any celeb in the world wore your clothes and promoted it, obviously it's going to, sort of give you brownie points. But it shouldn't be the only criteria.
Right. That they come to see only the film star.
Celebs, yeah, exactly.
Who was your first model? First model or a first Bollywood celeb you worked with?
Well, Deepika used to model a lot for us in those days and now, but she wasn't a Bollywood celeb then. But today, yeah, she's huge. A lot of these girls actually started in Bangalore, a lot of them. Prasad was fairly instrumental in picking up a lot of the big models and sort of making them sort of Miss Indias and stuff like that. So, yeah, quite a few of them went from here.
Who was your first Bollywood personality?
At that time, they weren't because you had an Arjun Rampal or a Deepika Padukone or a Bipasha Basu or a...
They were all models.
They were all models.
Yeah.
They were all models who did our shows regularly and repeatedly.
Right.
And then went on to become Bollywood stars.
Did they change after becoming Bollywood stars?
No, it just became more famous and made a lot more money. But they had the look and they sort of capitalized on that look and they did really well for themselves, which is brilliant.
Who's more difficult to handle, the models, the actors, or the sports personalities?
In those days, earlier on, we had, like you had abroad, you had the supermodels, the Cindy Crawfords and the Naomi Campbells and stuff like that. In India, we had the Madhu Sapres and the Meher Jaisiyas, and they were the Rahul Dev, Mark Robinson, Arjun Rampal. They were the male ones. Madhu, Meher, and a few others were all the women. So those were the supermodels of the day.
Right.
But you never really had tantrums and stuff like that. Everybody was sort of pretty much, it was an industry in its infancy in the first place. Once a person becomes like super famous and everything, then, then they have firstly 20 assistants and 10 hanger-ons and 3 hairstylists and blah, blah, blah. So then obviously they become a little more difficult to handle. Anil Kumble has come to Delhi to walk the ramp for me at India Men's Fashion Week.
Right.
Most down-to-earth, cool chap. I mean, lovely guy. No shusha, nothing. And the press went mad after him because everybody else was trying to get a Bollywood celebrity, and there I had Anil Kumble walking, who was, a legend.
Right.
And worked really well.
Talk about your fashion and talk about the infamous wedding of your daughter, which was which was in the UK. You designed.
You really did your homework.
I did. I had to talk to so many people. Full research team.
Good. 2 thumbs up to that.
2 things in that. 1, denim lehenga.
Cool, wasn't it?
Talk of the town. Denim lehenga.
Even the talk of the country. That thing just went viral. Everybody was just writing about it non-stop. 6 months, 4 months later, 5 months later, people were still writing about it, and I was laughing. I said, surely by now they've had enough of it. But yeah, that one did well. The whole idea was to just do something different. My daughter was also very convinced that she wanted a wedding which was different from everybody else's. Right. She did not want a typical wedding, where you have to have a mehndi and a haldi and a sangeet and basically tick all the right boxes for what is required at a wedding. She said, I don't want to wear a red lehenga. I don't want to wear something which has been done to death. Every bride wears the same clothes. You actually look at it. You look at 200 people's wedding photographs. They look like cookie cutter images of each other. Each one.
Right.
Whether it's venue, whether it's the way they dress, whether it's the decor at the wedding, everything looks the same. They look like a cookie cutter image of each other. I have gone to weddings in the best hotels all over the place, which are great wedding venues. But you're leaving from that wedding and they're already doing up the same place with slightly different flowers and everything to make it look exactly the same place. The Jaimala will take place in the same place. The photo ops will be in the same thing. So basically what you're doing, and people are spending top dollar, They're really spending top dollar on this to do something which has been done 100 times before. Where's the originality?
Right. Calm down. Have some water. Pani pilawan ko.
I don't even. So, the whole idea was to do something different. So I said, let's just do denim, and I love denim.
Denim lehenga.
Yeah, so I said, let's do a denim lehenga. They thought I was nuts. In between, my wife even said, should we do a leather lehenga? I said, the poor Pandit will run away from there. I'm dressed in leather. It took me 2.5, 3 months to make that lehenga. It turned out great, and it was just like everybody was just shocked when they saw it, that she came out dressed in denim. And then, of course, I had husbands, the groom's bandgala also in denim with the similar embroideries and all, so that it looked sort of matching with each other.
Ek thaan se nikle hue.
Yeah, and so the whole thing was a great story and it looked really good.
Yeah.
And we decided to do the wedding in the UK. They initially wanted to do it in Scotland, which I thought was a pretty harebrained idea. But they wanted that whole countryside feel. And she used to study in London and he was studying in Scotland. So they used to spend a lot of time in Scotland. They said nobody does weddings in Scotland. So then we sort of just decided to do it outside London at the Four Seasons in Hampshire, which was great 500-acre property. And you had the whole countryside, and that's what they wanted, was something different.
Right.
And so, because it was like in an English garden, we did that sort of embroidery on the lehenga, which was typical of an English garden. They look great.
If you want a denim ensemble for your wedding, please connect to Manoviraj Khosla. It might come back again in fashion. And if somebody comes to you, you have to give me half the price of that.
So we just did the bangala for somebody else. We've had a lot of inquiries about the lehenga as well. But I mean, people are a little apprehensive because the bride may want it, but it's the people in the family who will turn around and say, "What do you mean you're wearing denim? Every lehenga can't be either the same pastels or the same red. There has to be something. There has to be a third option, or a fourth or a fifth. Just think out of the box."
ये तो बात होगी लहंगे की. अब बारात आई थी रोल्स रॉयस में.
Rolls Royce.
Barat came in the Rolls Royce, right?
No, left in a Rolls Royce. And it was blue, huh? It was in the same matching blue as the denim lehenga. There was no Barat as such, really, because it was half Christian, half Parsi. So, it wasn't like a typical Barat situation. And we all just basically went at the wedding from one place into the main venue. I am actually the biggest critic of, when the fairas are going on, and I always tell people, come after the fairas, or I'd go after the fairas to any wedding, because what are you going to sit and watch a fairas going on for an hour? It's actually meaningless to anybody. But I was actually really surprised to see that everyone who was invited was actually there and sat through the fairas without a drink. I was actually gobsmacked about that because I've never seen that. But I guess that's because we didn't have that Barat situation. What happens normally in a wedding is you have the Barat, everybody's pissed drunk, everybody's dancing, and then the Barat ends and then the couple sits down to get married. Now everyone's half smashed. Nobody gives a rat's ass about that ceremony that's going on over there. Everybody's now doing their own thing and now they're going to their rooms or wherever else to get the next drink.
Right.
Nobody's interested in watching that thing. Here, because we didn't have that Barat, so to say, everybody just came into the lawns where we were having that thing, and it was just like a coffee and tea situation because it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when they got into the rolls. It was convertible. So it was like a but obvious choice.
Wow.
And it was the same blue as the denim lehenga.
Okay.
So it was a but obvious choice.
Whose car was that?
Friends.
What was written on the number plate?
The number plate.
Tell me the names. I want to transition to the main aspect of your life.
It's just a friend's car. And it happened to be there. It was parked over there. We were getting another sort of sports convertible through a friend of mine was getting one car, and then another cousin of mine was getting a convertible Aston Martin. Then we saw the Rolls there, which another friend of mine came in, and we all looked at each other, and then everyone said, "You're in the UK. You have to have a British car, a Rolls Royce, and it's a convertible. What better than this?" And he said, "Yeah, come on, you have to use this car." So we used the Rolls.
It turned out to be king of good times for you.
It was really the king of the good times.
Talking about king of good times, you worked with Vijay Mallya. The biggest breakthrough was working with him. How did you get the call? Kya tha?
Vijay and I just, so we met socially and we became great friends, and we hung out a lot together, and then we started doing Kingfisher clothing at one point of time. It was just like party talk somewhere. We were at a party and I said, we should do Kingfisher clothing. He said, damn good idea.
Okay.
Let's have a meeting tomorrow. And we had a meeting and we decided to do this sporty sort of line. But it was a bit too ahead of its time,
Right.
We couldn't understand it, what we were trying to do. People in UB, in the company themselves couldn't understand what we were trying to do because they said, we don't know the ABC of selling clothes. We know how to make beer, we know how to sell beer. So I was pretty much trying to run it, but then, like I said, it was too ahead of its time and people were not ready to wear clothing called Kingfisher and all. So we did it for a while. We did shoes, we did clothes, more sporty sort of stuff. Athleisure. Now, athleisure wasn't so big at that time like it is today.
The word is now.
Yeah, exactly.
The word is what, 3-year-old.
Yeah, we were trying to do this then. Like I said, it was too ahead of its time, so we finally just shut it down. And then, of course, the airline started, and then I designed the entire look for Kingfisher Airlines.
So, what was the brief like? Lal dikhna chahiye, sab lal dikhna chahiye.
No, the brief was very simple that you can choose any color as long as it's red. But that was a pretty obvious choice because red was the Kingfisher color.
Right.
And the livery on the plane, everything was going to be in red. So it stood out. And so the whole idea was also then to give it a sort of a look and an identity which went with the airline, So, I was definitely not going to go the Air India sari route or a rather formal look. So I managed to sort of marry that look. I gave it a very denim silhouette, type denim jacket kind of a look, but in a formal red fabric. And we managed to put together and the amalgamation of this really cool, trendy look with sort of more formal fabric. That look that came together actually worked brilliantly. After that, Jet Airways changed their uniform. They took out a hoarding in Bombay saying, "We've changed." Kingfisher took out a hoarding on top of that saying, "We made you change." And I'm like, I fucking did this.
But I think in Bangalore there are 3 eras: BM, DM, and AM. Before Malya, during Malya, and after Malya. What was that about? Things changed tremendously.
Well, I mean, he was always an icon over here. So
Right.
He was the booze king. So
And he wanted to change that persona about his company and
yeah, so that's why we started that whole Kingfisher line,
Right.
of clothing initially, because it was all they wanted to portray it more as a lifestyle brand than
Right.
as a beer brand.
Young
only,
brand.
Yeah, it was a young brand. It was an aspirational brand. It was a go-to brand. So it was a question of how elastic that brand was and where all you could stretch it to. And so we started with the clothes thing and everything. Then it of course, became an airline. I think it would have done brilliantly well. It was the best airline the country ever had. Sad what happened to it. I think there was just too many expenses and
Right.
costs were just too high and oil at $110 a barrel. It all just didn't work. So anyway, the airline went belly up. And then Vijay sort of left. That was the end of that. But while it was on, I mean, that was one hell of a ride.
because he was here, he was changing the image of his company. Then there was IPL, there was Force India, there are new beers which were coming. Ultra was launched that time.
Yeah, he was doing a lot. I mean, he's probably one of the most intelligent people you'll ever meet. I mean, he was seriously smart guy.
क्या था उस वक्त scene क्या? Tell me some wild stories. What used to
Well,
happen?
IPL was on, and IPL was great fun. And there was a party every night after every match, and we were flying around from city to city, and everybody was having a great time. And we had the best team. Okay, we never won, but we almost got there very often. It was another ride. It was just because nobody could do it the way Vijay did it, And then of course he bought Force India, and he started a team which was. I mean, that was a team that never finished a race, let alone come last in a race. I mean, when it was Jordan and stuff, it never finished a race. Became Jordan, and then he bought it, and they were in the top 3 in the Constructors' Championships.
Right.
So, and with a budget which was this much compared to the Mercedes and the Ferraris, who had this budget, and these guys had this budget, but they still managed to do what they did, which was, I mean, it was phenomenal. It was incredible to be able to achieve something like that, and only someone like him could have done it.
I'm asking, when you were in that circle, what was happening with you? What were you gauging? What were you watching? What was Bangalore that time?
Bangalore was the same. I mean, it was just not as big. I mean, Bangalore is growing every day. So,
Right.
I mean, if you ask me 1 week from now what is happening last week, I'd say Bangalore's become bigger today because 3 more restaurants have opened and 5 more pubs have opened, and each one is sort of bigger and larger than the last one. The city kept is sort of expanding. But I mean, even that time, I mean, it was very happening, and Vijay was very much in the center of it all because he was sort of the driving force behind so many different things, especially in the sports arena. Whether it was Formula 1 racing or cricket or whatever, even football, he had Mohan Bagan and he had East Bengal, 2
Right.
biggest teams in the country. So he was quite a driving force with everything, and he was very proud of the whole India name. That's why he named Force India, because
Right.
he wanted the India to be represented. And even if we went to Monaco for the Grand Prix, I mean, he hosted the opening night parties, and the whole world wanted to come onto his yacht to sort of witness what was thing. And then there was the biggest boat and the most prominent boat in the entire Monaco Grand Prix was flying the Indian flag. And people was just like, oh my God, where have the Indians come from suddenly? It was normally the Indians were never the ones represented there. But now suddenly it was all about India.
And those clothes were also designed by you. You did a show there as well.
We did lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, including the track girls and everything, and so they were great. It was one hell of a ride. That's all I can say. It was one hell of a ride.
Do you miss that time?
Of course, anybody would miss that time. It was fantastic.
What do you miss about it?
I think just everything that was going on with it. I mean, the fact that we owned a Formula One team.
We all
You
were
were not
watching.
just going to watch a Formula One race. You know, you were going there with the owner. You were sitting in the motorhome. You were sitting in the paddock club with the teams and the drivers, and you were witnessing this whole thing on a one-on-one. And only someone like Vijay could do it. Nobody else would have the balls to do something like that. No one.
That's why I said before Malia, during Malia, after Malia. This is the era.
Before Malia, well, there was no real before Malia. It was during Malia. That was the whole, you know, he was the man. And after Malia, I mean, you know, then things sort of dwindled down. The hype of RCB, which it was, because there was this man hype, you know, leading that thing from, you know, flying the flag right from the front. I mean, you don't see that, anymore. You know, the whole hype around the team and the glamour behind it and everything has, I mean, in my opinion, has dwindled a bit.
I think instead of changing the team, we should call him back to
definitely.
take charge.
Yep. Bring him back to be in charge, this will all change.
Yeah. Then only I think we'll win.
And even with Force India, of course, the team has now been sold and everything like that. Vijay was a very, very important sort of face in the Formula One circuit.
We all were proud. I was in Delhi that time and I was like, wow, there's Force India. And I used to follow the race and see where is Force India. I think they were in top 15 that time.
Yeah, no, they became better and better and better and better, you know.
Talk about fashion. Which city is most fashionable for you
Are you talking in India?
in India?
That's a toss-up between Delhi and Bombay. Bombay has Bollywood, Delhi has the rest of the society. So yeah, it's a toss-up between the two cities.
Fashion is also cyclical, right? And it keeps coming back.
Yeah, of course, everything's a cycle.
Like
Fashion
the
is a total
70s
cycle.
and 80s prints and cuts, they're coming back.
Yeah, they'll always come back. Everything comes back, but it comes back with a twist. It doesn't come back exactly the same way. It always comes back with a difference.
So how do you keep up with that twist? How do you keep up with the trend?
You have to be abreast of things that are happening, and you got to have your finger on the pulse and understand how trends are moving and how things are happening. And I mean, fashion is very aspirational, you know. So you have to understand what people are wanting and how different they want to look from the next guy. So yeah, it is a cycle. Obviously, things do keep coming back, and you know, you will have baggy pants which will come in, and then baggy pants will go out, and then pleated pants will come in, and then pleated pants will go out, and then bell bottoms will come in, and bell bottoms go out. But the way you have the same bell bottoms from the 70s will never be the same bell bottoms which you'd find now.
Yeah.
You know, there will always be a twist. Lapels will become wider, lapels will become narrower, but they will always come with a slight difference in the shape and the, you know, stuff like that. So there's always a difference in the way that the whole game is played out.
Right.
But yes, is the basic thing is, yes, of course it's a cycle. The oversize is coming back. It was big at one point in time, and then everybody became really health conscious and, you know, stuff like that, and everybody wanted to look really fit, so they didn't want to wear clothes that, you know, didn't make them look fit. But now you're wearing stuff which is oversized, which, you know, just makes it sort of look larger than you actually are. But it's a trend. Let's see how long it lasts.
But what is the story in South? Because you design for weddings as well,
Yeah.
right? But in South, I've seen mostly they wear a silk shirt, they wear veshti, and the wedding is
So
done.
that's the wedding ceremony. So there is a lot of influence from the north as far as weddings are concerned, anywhere in the country. It's not just the south or Gujarat or Bengal or wherever. I mean, the whole concept of a wedding sangeet came from where? It came because of the Punjabis, right?
Right.
That was a wedding sangeet. Then was never a concept of a wedding sangeet anywhere else in India, really. Today, that sangeet has gone from becoming a sangeet to one big party. So now that one big party happens in every wedding, whether the wedding's here or whether the wedding's in Ahmedabad or whether the wedding's in Calcutta or whether the wedding's in Ranchi or in Kerala, it doesn't matter. Everybody's doing big fat Indian weddings. Even if the person over here traditionally is wearing just that one typical traditional outfit for the wedding, that's just a ceremony which is only for an hour or two.
Right.
Before that and after that, I mean, I'm doing weddings right now where they say, okay, we'll finish that and we change immediately for the photo ops, because they want to look more dressed up for the photos.
Right.
So then you're doing the clothes for that, then you're doing the clothes for the night before, then you're doing the clothes for the reception. So the wedding at the end of the day in India is a 3-day affair.
It is.
Yeah, you know, with lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner.
It's more like a fancy dress for the bride and the groom.
Exactly. So yeah, so you know, so that doesn't really affect anyone.
But does the fashion affect? Because how loud are people here in their dressing when they go to a wedding?
Oh, I think loudness and clothes is a totally individual thing, you know. You can have someone in Delhi who's the most conservative dresser, and you're gonna have the person in Bangalore who's the wildest dresser, and vice versa. But people are very experimental. People are really willing to sort of push the boundaries, and everybody wants to look different. Everybody wants to look cool. Everybody wants to look chic. Everybody wants to look good. That's why they come to us.
Coming to Manoviraj Khosla for your wedding. What is a wedding dress? What goes into it? Why is it so expensive?
It's the workmanship. You're typically doing a sherwani which has got lots of embroidery on it and embellishments on it and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of time taken to make something like that, whether it's a sherwani or a lehenga or anything. As far as weddings are concerned, there is a lot of embroidery that goes into every garment, regardless of the function.
Right.
That's what jacks up the costs. Of course, we do a lot of stuff like for sangeets and stuff, which may not necessarily be embroidery centric. Obviously, the costs come down then. Everybody wants to look dressed up for that. So whether it's just the groom and the bride, or is their relatives and their parents and the brothers and the sisters and the uncles and the aunts and everything, everybody wants to look great.
Have you ever thought of recycling it? Because a lot of times what happens, most of the times this happens, that they wear that cloth only once.
Yeah.
Pack it, put it in a box, keep it inside.
It happens very often with a lot of people, or they'll take it out maybe for another family wedding function or something like that. But I think people don't want to really touch their wedding clothes that often. They're very happy with it, and they will wear it to another wedding, but only to something really big. Like, so you may wear it to your brother's wedding or your sister's wedding or something like that. But when it's a close family thing, so people do tend to wear it. It's not like something that is really just put away. People do sort of wear it at least one more time or twice more. But it's basically made for that one occasion.
Right.
And everybody's very aware of the fact. They're not making something or thinking about the costs at that point of time. So when a person comes for wedding clothes, he will make the main thing is obviously the wedding and the sangeet and the reception. The reception outfit invariably is always repeated and worn again, because a lot of people now are going for tuxedos and stuff like that.
Right.
So a tuxedo is a tuxedo, and you'll wear that tuxedo 100 times. The one that you may not wear as often is your own wedding sherwani, unless it's like a big family wedding. The sangeet outfit also is going to get repeated by a lot of people.
Right. What's the most expensive piece of clothing you have sold?
We don't make seriously expensive. I mean, I think the maximum would be sort of 1.5 lakh, 2 lakhs for an outfit. Like maybe, we've done a bandi for just 1 lakh rupees because it had really, detailed embroidery, Kashmiri embroidery. So the same thing, if it was converted into a sherwani, would have been 4 lakhs.
Okay. Wow.
Or 5 lakhs. Yeah, because of the time taken. It takes 6 months to embroider or something like that.
Acha.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's all handwork. People then, instead of doing a full sherwani out of it, will do something smaller. But we personally, as a design house, don't do too much embroidery. Our concentration is more on the styling, the cuts, the look of the entire garment, rather than hours and hours and days and weeks and months of embroidery on a particular garment.
What are you more comfortable in, the ladies' clothes or men's?
Men's. 90% of our work is men's. Today, men are sort of more and more adventurous, so you have to keep coming up with new styles, new cuts and everything.
Right.
I just relate more to menswear, so it's just like a personal thing.
Right.
Yeah, a journalist asked me once, why do you like to do menswear more than women's wear? I says, when I see a man, I want to dress him. When I see a woman, I want to undress her.
Should plus size be a model?
Why not? I think anybody can be a model, I think people need to look more real. Now, people are, of course, bringing in larger sizes, plus sizes, double plus sizes onto the ramp just for the sake of, showing diversity, and the fact that, to show that this garment doesn't necessarily have to be worn by somebody who's like really skinny, because everybody realizes that not everybody is skinny, and the people who are buying the clothes are real people.
Right.
And so you need to make clothes for real people to do real sales. So that is happening now.
Do you get things like, since you're a popular figure, you should comment on certain things like there's water scarcity in Bangalore, you're partying, why are you partying so much? But do you get something like you need to comment on certain things?
If a press person will ask me, what do you think about the water scarcity? It's a problem of the government. They should have thought about these things and done rainwater harvesting and encouraged people to do things like that. That's where the problem lies. The problem is at the end of the day, you'll get into a situation, and then the people who are obvious, you'll start targeting them and saying, why are you doing this and why are you doing that?
Right.
The problem is that those people are probably conserving more water than the average Joe on the street is, who's sitting and washing cars by the dozen and who's, wasting water in a lot of ways. I mean, people were saying, you have to shut down swimming pools. You're not filling the swimming pool now. The swimming pool's been filled for 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's the same water. It's being filtered, right? It's not like you're pouring water into a swimming pool. So why would you shut a swimming pool down?
Right.
But, people just have this thing that, but there's no water. But it's not like you're going to take the water out of the swimming pool and drink it in any case, right?
But do you get something like you should comment on social issues or something
people
which has
always ask
happened
me
on
to do
political
that.
things or something?
Yeah, all the time.
So do you comment on that?
Yeah, but in a sort of roundabout, nice sort of please everybody way. Unless I actually feel really strongly about something. But a lot of the times they ask you to comment on things which are,
What are the questions you've been asked?
I mean, anything. It ranges from, it could be a traffic thing. It was something about a flyover thing that got bust once, and some TV channels were calling me up, and some
The
Ejipura
Ejipura flyover, the never-ending story of Ejipura flyover.
Various things. But
I
I
think
mean, at the end of the day, what's the point of asking us? We all know what the answer is. The answer is political. It's a political problem.
Right.
Those guys have done jack shit about it. So then why are you even asking us? We'll tell you what you already know. People are so stupid. They already know the answer to 90% of the problem questions.
Do you speak about politics? Are you a
Not
supporter
really.
of any party?
I don't support any party because I just think that difference between the devil and the deep blue sea.
According to you, how should we solve the traffic issue in Bangalore?
How should we solve the traffic issue in Bangalore? By teaching people how to drive. by enforcing laws which actually will do something about the traffic. What is it? You'll hear about the Bangalore cops talking about, we have fined 20,000 people this month, and so we're looking into it. Of those 20,000 people who have been fined, 19,990 people would have been fined for not wearing a helmet. That's not solving a traffic problem.
Right.
How many people were fined for riding on the wrong side of the road? How many people were fined for blocking the left-hand side when there's a left-hand free signal?
Free signal,
And there'll be one idiot. Have you ever seen a cop fining somebody for that? Never. But if they see somebody in that row not wearing a helmet, they get on heat for some reason.
Yeah.
Now, if a person is risking his own life, a guy who's not wearing a helmet is risking only his own life, right? He's not risking your life or my life. But you'll find him. But when that guy is blocking traffic, zigzagging through traffic, changing lanes, and endangering his life, and more so my life and every other person on the road's life, that person they'll never find. So where's the logic? How are you ever going to solve a traffic problem?
I've seen that. Try going to the airport.
Yeah, everybody has to overtake from the wrong side.
Yeah.
Everybody has to overtake from the wrong side.
Go early in the morning when the roads are empty. It is the most dangerous.
No, and what will they do? They'll say people are speeding. It's got nothing to do with speeding. People are driving at 3 times the speed everywhere else in the world. You just give an indicator, go to the right lane, overtake, move back into the left lane, and keep that right lane free so that people are free to overtake as they have to. Here, we have to zigzag through traffic all the time. Have they ever fined anybody for that? Never. So then what's the point of saying we're doing our best? What are you doing? You're fining people for not wearing seat belts and not wearing helmets. The two things where the person is only endangering their own lives and not harming anybody else.
Right.
That you'll find them for. But when they're harming the whole world around them and blocking traffic left, right and center, that you'll never find anybody for. So then...
Most of the time, Anil Kumble is cursed because in CBT, that's the junction which is blocked all the time.
Always.
The Anil Kumble circle.
Yeah.
Which is no more a circle.
It's strange. I mean, I wish I had some traffic cop who could actually give me an answer to this.
Big question, please answer if you're listening and if you're watching. Have you ever had a near-death experience?
No, that's it. Thankfully not.
Never?
Not that I can remember.
Were you ever scared to death?
I'm fairly sort of careful with my life. I mean, I am a bit reckless. I can't deny that. But I mean, I'm fairly sort of grounded in a lot of ways.
What's the wildest party you've done?
Wildest parties I've done? I mean, all over. I mean, I've done about 1 million wild parties. I mean, each one is wilder than the next and each one is more fun than the next. And in various parts of the world, it's impossible to And if anybody says, I must tell you that this is the wildest night I have, and gives you a full detailed description of that, and they actually remember it, which means it wasn't really a wild party.
Right.
It's very difficult to actually say what is the wildest thing you've ever done and what is the craziest thing you've ever done. The craziest thing I've ever done, you don't even want to know the crazy things I've ever done. I mean, I've done so many crazy things all my life, all over the world, that, you know, I could write a thesis on it. So how do you single out any one thing?
What about the new gen? What do you have to say about the new generation?
They're spoiled, they're brats, and they have no sort of concept of reality, a lot of them.
Okay.
But they're very smart. A lot of them are really smart, and they're go-getters, and I think that's what's really, really cool about them. If you compare them to people of our generation, okay, I was lucky, I was exposed to a lot right through my life, but a lot of my people I know weren't. But today's generation is exposed to so much, so early, which is a good thing and a bad thing, you know. But I think the important thing about this generation is that sort of they seem to have their sort of feet on the ground, and they know what they're doing, and they're all very, very ambitious, which is great. You know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there were a lot of people who would just be just happy sitting on a beach and being a hippie, you know. You don't see that now. That doesn't happen today.
What is accepted now and not accepted now?
Everything's accepted now. I mean, people have become a little sensitive to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing, and you know, being politically correct, which I think is this sort of the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, is being politically correct. You know, and you're not supposed to say this and you're not supposed to say that. Who made these rules? There's a question I always ask. Who said you can't use this word and you can't say this? Bullshit. I mean, I think that's a lot of crap, actually.
There's a trans wave which is going on.
Yeah.
People identify themselves as
You want to
something
identify
else.
yourself as whichever way you want to do it. Just don't thrust it down my throat, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever you want to be, good for you. If they say that, you know, you have to call us they. No, they, the term is plural.
Right.
They means a bunch of us, you know. It's like this joke about someone said, oh, my friends are coming over. I've got someone coming over for dinner to your place. Who? They are coming. So the guy goes and makes food for a lot of people because you said they are coming, and one person shows up. And you say, where are all these people you said they were coming? You said they are coming. He said, yeah, that is them. That is not them. That's one bloody person. Where are they? You know? Go and find yourself another name. You can't go and say they. I mean, look at the English bloody dictionary and see what they means and what them means. So stupid.
What do you have to say when people say that the models are treated like commodities sometimes?
Models are everybody's treated as a commodity whenever they have to be.
Like,
A model is treated like a model. You
Right.
come to do your job, you wear the clothes, you walk the clothes, and you get photographed in those clothes, you get paid a shitload of money. You're really happy. That's why the whole world is trying to become a model.
Right.
I know the number of people who keep messaging me saying, we want to model, we want to model. So what is the commodity in it? I don't know. It's just someone who's just lack of anything else to do, says, let's rake up this issue and say that, oh, models are becoming a commodity. Nonsense. You're not a commodity.
It's just
how you
another
choose
profession.
to be treated. You know, I mean, you've gone and got yourself treated like a commodity. That's up to you. But you don't have to be a model for that. You could be a person in a corporate job. You could be a chef in a restaurant. You could be an assistant designer. You could be a taxi driver. You know, you could be anything and be treated as a commodity. So why is it narrowed down to why are models treated as a commodity?
Right.
It's not.
Who are your closest friends?
I don't have any closest friends and not so closest friends. I have different friends. I've got like great friends in Calcutta who I grew up with. I have great friends from Doon School. I have great friends from college in London. I have great friends from, you know, different aspects of my life, you know.
Nice. What is friendship for you? क्या है दोस्ती क्या है?
A two-way street. Total understanding, no pressure, chill, and have a great laugh. As long as you're having a great laugh with each other, that's fine.
Okay.
And nobody's stabbing each other in the back. Number one thing.
What is your view on one night stand?
It's great. Nothing. I mean, each to their own. You want to have a one night stand, have a one night stand. You want to have a two night stand, have a two night stand. You know, you want to have multiple one night stands, you go for it, dude. I mean, each one to themselves, and you know, whatever you feel like doing, and you know, whatever. Like I said, as long as you're enjoying yourself and everything, and you know, people are happy, and you're not hurting anybody else, it's great. Do it.
And what do you see in a girl when you meet the girl in a party?
Is she fun? She's no fun. We're not. I'm at a party to enjoy myself. I'm not there to have serious conversation with you.
Right.
Right. So if we're having fun and you're a great girl and you know, that's all that I really care about.
What's your go-to dance move?
There are too many of them.
Show me two of them.
No way.
I know one of them.
This never. Is it this? No. They're
This,
like too many.
the full.
It's the whole
wrist
flow.
use.
It depends on how the flow is going, you know.
What's your favorite drink?
Beer.
Go-to beer.
That's all I drink.
Only beer.
Yeah.
Well, which is your favorite beer?
I like a variety of beers, mostly lagers. In India, I end up drinking Kingfisher 99% of the time.
Okay.
But, you know, it's the most obvious beer to drink. So,
Worked with them, it's in the blood. So yeah,
it's in the blood, yeah.
That's
there's-
the case.
There's always one in my hand.
3 things to impress a girl.
Sense of humor, sense of humor, sense of humor.
Do you crack jokes?
The jokes just come with the flow while you're having conversation. Never prepare a joke.
Right.
God, yeah.
But-
that's just so. It's a question of being witty and catching on to something and joking about that at the spur of the moment and catching the humor in the situation. Yeah, that is what is, you know, funny. It's not something that is a pre-planned joke which actually works. It's being witty at that point of time and catching that wit at that situation. That's the way the humor actually works.
How many times have you been on a yacht party?
One I remember, I think, would probably be Vijay Mallya's Monaco Grand Prix opening night parties with everybody from Antonio Banderas to Jay-Z to, I mean, everybody was there. Every Formula One driver, every team owner, Bernie Eccleston, anybody in the motoring world, the who's who, Prince Albert of Monaco. I mean, everybody was there. It was the opening night party. I think that would be probably one of the coolest yacht parties ever. Definitely.
Do you invest money? Where do you invest money?
I never have enough money to invest, but I'm a pretty chilled out guy that way.
All right. These are the abbreviations people use these days. Let's see if you know them.
No, damn. I'm bad at those.
I picked the easiest ones.
Okay.
What is OOTD?
OO?
TD. A lot of ladies use it. Hashtag OOTD when they get ready. So
No idea.
OOTD. It's called outfit of the day.
Yeah, why does everybody go into abbreviations? You know, I mean, it's like you see somebody sending you a WhatsApp and they'll write something which, if you wrote it in English, would have 3 alphabets, but they will abbreviate and cut it down to 2 alphabets. Are you so busy that you couldn't write the 3rd alphabet?
I have an abbreviation like that. Let's see if you can catch it. It is BLZR in fashion world. What is it called?
BLZR, blazer.
Yes.
I mean, it's just quite obvious. I didn't even know it, but I just guessed it.
So A or E hata diya and
Exactly.
BLZR ho gaya. What is 2PS and 3PS?
2PS.
2PS or 3PS?
I have no idea.
It's in male clothing.
Oh, 2-piece suit and 3-piece suit.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is BNID?
I don't know.
It's called brand new in the box.
Why can't you just say new? It would actually be faster to just say new. Why do you have to say brand new in the box?
It is boxed. It has never been opened.
But if it's brand new, who cares whether it's in the box or it's not in the box?
What is ATM?
Automated teller machine.
Not
Anytime
the
money. Anytime money.
Not the money, but otherwise, what is ATM?
I don't know.
We are talking ATM.
What are we talking ATM?
ATM means at the moment.
At the moment. Why can't we just say talking now? NOW. Same number of alphabets. Why do you have to say at the moment? Why can't we just say now?
Okay, this you must be knowing. GOAT, GOAT.
Yeah, greatest of all time, yeah.
What is TTYL?
Call you later kind of thing. Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
What is YOLO?
I even know this. I really know this one. This one I actually know.
You know it, yes.
Yeah.
You party because you YOLO.
What is it? I've forgotten.
You only
Live once.
live once. Do you believe in that?
Totally.
What does good style mean to you?
Good style is someone who can carry off what they're wearing.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing, is to know what you're wearing and to carry it off correctly. And obviously, to, you know, something that's really trendy and really cool.
And how will technology impact style going forward?
I mean, people will, you know, obviously, if it, you know, like you would say with AI, they'd probably get that outfit and put them on a photograph and then see exactly what they look like and do the hair like that and then see a photograph of themselves before they've actually got dressed up, blah, blah, blah. I think that's basically how style would, technology would impact style. Because you know what you look like before you actually look like that.
What is it something you have done before but will not do again?
I don't think there's anything that I've done before but that I'll not do again. I mean, I'll be happy to repeat a lot of the stuff that I've done.
What is your love with Bangalore? What is your story of Bangalore?
I moved here in 1990 by default, and I love the city, so I just stayed on over here. You know, it's a great city. It's grown fabulously. Nice melting pot of different people from different places, you know, with different ideas and different cultures and different. So there are people from the north, from the south, from people who moved from Africa, people who moved from America, people who moved, you know, Indians, you know, not necessarily foreigners, but Indians who moved from all over the world and, you know, just sort of come into Bangalore. And so it's, you know, you're meeting a lot of different people. It's not like in a lot of cities where the people are basically people who have lived there all their lives. Bangalore is not like that, and that's what I love about Bangalore. You go to Calcutta, where I lived most of my life, you don't meet people from anywhere else. Everybody you meet there has lived in Calcutta for 5 generations, you know, and nobody ever moves to Calcutta. It's one of those cities. Everybody moves out of Calcutta. But that influx that happens in Bangalore, I don't think you see anywhere in the country.
It's the bigger melting pot.
It's the biggest melting pot, and I think that's what I love about it.
Nice. Love, hate, tolerate about Bangalore.
What do I love about Bangalore? The attitude, the chillness about people. People have this laid-back attitude, but at the same time, they're very professional. What do I hate about Bangalore? Is obviously the traffic situation, which is actually so easily fixable. The way the blatant disregard for traffic rules in Bangalore, you will never see that in any other city. Nowhere.
And what do you tolerate?
I tolerate that nonsense of the bad traffic. I tolerate the bad attitudes on the road. But, you know, you just got to tolerate stuff through life and just enjoy it. And let's, you know, sometimes it's got to go in from one end, come out of the other, and you just carry on. It's great.
Do you wake up early? Do you work out?
I work out for about an hour and 15 minutes every morning, and then I swim 1.5 kilometers in the evening.
Wow. That's why at this age you're keeping so fit.
And I enjoy it, you know. I enjoy exercise.
Are you a spiritual person as well?
To an extent. Don't go overboard about it. But yeah.
Like how spiritual are you?
Spiritual, like religious, you believe in religion, don't delve too much into it. But yeah, you know, don't impose my opinions on people about religion or anything. Let everybody just do what they have to. It's not like I'm sort of overly fanatical about it or anything like that. But yeah, pretty chill.
See, that happens when you are into wedding scene, there's a Mahurat.
Yeah.
And when you make a wedding dress, it goes through a puja.
No.
No?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, my daughter got married. We never went through any muharrat. We never went through any puja for the wedding dress. Like I said, I mean, they were doing 7 things and I was saying hurry up and all because I don't want the crowd to get bored. I even cut that down. So, you know, it's fine.
That is because you wanted to open the bar for yourself.
And for everybody else who was sitting there. I hate calling people over and getting them bored.
What's your most memorable show you have done?
The first India Fashion Week. You know, the firsts. When you do something for the first time.
Right.
Yeah, so like launching Kingfisher, the Kingfisher line, when we did that in 95, I mean, you know, to have 2,000 people at a show, that was huge. That was very memorable. Never forget that. Finished the show and went go-kart racing at 3 in the morning in the same place. Because they used to have a go-kart track over there in Shanti Niketan in those days.
Right.
Yeah, so we raced go-karts till 5 in the morning after the show.
So lovely to talk to you.
Great talking to you. Thank you.
Get to know you personally and the works.
Thank you.
Well, and he's fashion designer from Namma, Bengaluru. He's been dressing people all his life, be it parties or be it wedding. It's Manoviraj Khosla, an icon of Bengaluru. This is the Tuhin Show, powered by TheStyle.World.